How to hire a sales rep on commission. Now, I think I started a lot of this before anybody even knew that high-ticket sales was a high-ticket sales thing. So in 1996, when I got the opportunity to be the master distributor of the cash flow game, I needed to figure out how to do a higher ticket sale. So today we're going to talk about 3 things that get you to this high level revenue. How to build a commission-only sales team, how to actually qualify and retain high-ticket commission-only salespeople. And number 3, what most entrepreneurs miss when they're looking to hire the high-ticket sales rep that is commission-only. So here's a question that I want to answer, just give you the exact answer. So why hire commission-only salespeople? Because a lot of you're going to do a draw, you do different kinds of structures. Hiring a commission-based salesperson is the smartest and, in my opinion, only way to scale into 6, 7, and even 8 figures. And I've done it for over 25 years now, almost 30 years. When you do it right, these reps pay for themselves by earning only what they produce. So basically, we call it eat what you kill. I know it sounds a little gross, but that is the model. So to make it work, you have to shift your mindset as the owner and to be crystal clear on expectations, creating a hiring system, a sales training system that can bring them in as quick as possible. So let's break it down into 3 different parts. Again, setting expectations from day one. How do you set those expectations and find them? How do you write the job post that sells so you actually are attracting that right person? And then last, using a filtered scale-based system to hire. So let's begin at the beginning. And first, I just want to reiterate, getting a high-ticket sales group is requiring typically not only just great leads, but then you have to have great setters to set the appointment to the commission-based salespeople. A lot of people want to skip that setter, what we call a setter. Somebody's just setting the appointment. They want to skip that posture. They want to skip that position. And we find having a double posture where the lead comes in, it's actually screened and sourced and actually qualifies to go to a closer for the high-end ticket, commission-based only salesperson. It works. And I've done it, like I said, since 1996. So let's go into the detail. So how do you set realistic expectations? Well, part of it's setting for yourself. So finding these kind of people, they're extremely high maintenance. They are hard to find, they're very transient, and they'll move from account to an account to an account. They want the best account that they can sell. They want an account that isn't going to have a huge refund rate. A lot of people have high ticket sales. There's no fulfillment, so then there's a huge refund rate, and they end up getting pulled back from them as well. So there's a balance of what are you delivering and what's your fulfillment to what you're asking them to sell. You have to understand that over 50% of the people who apply probably won't be a fit, and a lot of them will want to try it on. So you have to be very, very mindful. If you're going to spend how many weeks in training, months in training, how many leads, right, and opportunities are they going to burn because they really aren't the right fit. Again, just being really clear on the role. So someone that you think could be a closer, but they're not quite strong enough, you may want to invite them to be a setter first so they actually set appointments. Because if they can set an appointment to be in that conversation, then the closer conversation and the commission-only conversation is a much more advanced conversation. They really have to know the product, the service, the fulfillment. So the next thing is how do you actually create a post and where do you create posts? So the 3 best places to post straight up are Indeed, your own database. We actually post into our own database, and then other social media. Just let people know that you're hiring, you're interested in a lot of people. The actual ad cannot be a cookie cutter, come make 6 figures, blah, blah, blah. It just can't be a stock and block that you're going to get, I'm going to say from ChatGPT or just somewhere. Like what's really unique about you? What's unique about your product, your service? So for us, our high ticket commission only folks, a lot of them have actually been clients. They've been here for over a decade. They know the product. They've lived the product. They actually were a client and then emerged on the other side saying this was such a great experience. Now I want to actually make sure that more people have an opportunity to do that as well. So 9 out of 10 of mine are actually clients that have come through the entire system of the big table and then emerged on the other side wanting to be a high ticket commission only salesperson because they know where the money is. A lot of you, I just want to give you a little other nugget. If you think that the operators, engineers, the people who are actually doing the fulfillment are ever going to make more than salespeople, your employment model is off. Salespeople always make the most money. It has been known over the course of time. Because without sales, you don't have any fulfillment. You don't actually have the operators behind. Last thing, you want to offer a clear value proposition. Like, what are you paying in commission? So typically the minimum would be 10%. I'd say average is 15, higher is 18, high is 20. And I know a few firms who pay 22 to 25%. The other side of 22, 25% is you're taking that, say, 2 to 5% of extra commission that you could pay and put it towards the fulfillment cost. So you've really got to balance your margin before you can just go casually say, oh, it's going to be this, because you have to account all your overhead. You've got to count the actual fulfillment costs. I know people who are trying to fulfill a high ticket, which is like, I'm talking $25,000, $40,000, $65,000 item with an online class. And they're going to have huge refund rates because there's no interaction and there's no engagement. People who do high tickets with me get my cell phone, my personal cell phone as the guru. A lot of people don't play that, but that gives my closers even more, I'd say, confidence that the fulfillment and what we're going to be doing to the client that's going to actually strike that kind of a higher ticket is going to be fulfilled and taken care of very well. Now, before I continue on to the last point, I want you to subscribe to my channel. I want you here 5 days a week, because I am. And this is a family-friendly channel. So anyone 5 years old and up, if you want to put this financial literacy and conversation about money in your household, then start having them listen. So 5 years old and up, every day, you want them to listen, say, what was the video about? What did you learn? And what are you going to do? That's the conversation you can start. You can supplement that with a game. You can grab my game link. There's a discount in the link below. So go grab a game. That's how you put financial literacy at the household in your table so you can start learning about money, and same with your children. See, you can afford anything you want. You just have to learn to make the money to have it. And if your business isn't working enough, then think about this commission-based sales rep that you can put in. And I've seen it done in many, many industries, not just mine. I've seen it done in chiropractic. I've seen it done in medical. I've seen it done in law firms. I've seen it in engineering firms. There are so many places you can use this model. So if you were kind of checked out because your industry is different, I would check back in and re-listen to everything I just talked about. Now, the last point, using a filtered, scalable hiring system. So what does that mean? So always hire more than you need. Right? So if you need to hire one, probably hire four, they're going to filter out. In setters, we'll hire two, maybe get one. Sometimes you might get three, get one. So you just notice your ratios of how many people apply, how many people show up for the interview, how many people come back for a second interview and a third interview. And we would say at least do 3 interviews or with 3 different people. So it's not just one opinion. So one you want, is it a cultural fit? Right? Because we work in a very entrepreneurial environment. So we're not a very employee environment where you get your 10-minute break and then your 30-minute lunch and then your 10-minute break. You're an adult, handle yourself, here's your tasks, go. So make sure it's a cultural fit, make sure it's a role fit, that they really can understand. And there's some learning. Are they willing to learn? Like in my model, they've got to learn a lot about money and financial literacy to be in this conversation. Are they willing to learn it? If it's more chiropractic, are they willing to learn those fulfillment works? How does the practice work? What are they buying on their big, say, annual package? So I'm not looking for just sales skills. I'm looking for their understanding and make sure they have some cognitive learning and curiosity about what they are needing to learn to sell. The reason why a lot of people do apply in ours, may not stick, is they're too financially illiterate and not wanting to learn, but they want to just have a magic wand, right? They just would like this little magic wand to say, just because I sell the high ticket sales, that whole fulfillment is going to happen to my life. So I always say, if you want actually a MBA, massive bank account, then you come here and you learn about money. So it's being curious, it's having the cognitive reception to understand what you're selling so you have a better relationship and a better conversation. The last thing is implement a scale up and evaluation plan. So you actually have a place to give feedback. We record calls, give feedback on calls. So what is your process for understanding their data points from the amount of leads they get to the appointments that are kept, set, and then kept, and then closed. So we have a whole data metrics that actually make sure that they're actually getting the numbers that we need to make the company successful. So if you have any questions at any time and want any help doing this process, I love helping clients understand this process and actually create it for them and their business. It can 6, 7, 8x your business by far. But if you have any questions, go to askloral.com, ASKLORAL, ask a question, make a request. We'll be back tomorrow.